If you just recently switched to a whole food plant-based diet and you're a huge fan of bread and butter like myself, and you don't want to buy the store-bought sort of processed and very overly expensive butter, this video is for you. Hi, if you're new, my name is Rosa and I am the mama of our whole food plant-based family of 7. Today I'm going to show you how to make butter at home, and I'm going to show you how to make easy bread at home as well. It is so simple. We only need a handful of ingredients, and our butter only uses 3 whole food ingredients as well. Let's get in the kitchen and I'm going to show you how to do it. There's something so basic yet so comforting about bread and butter. That soft pillowiness of a slice of bread spread with this delicious creamy butter. It's just something about that, and it's just so good. I went to school in Switzerland for hotel management. We had a fancy French restaurant there, which we learned to cook and serve in, as well as had the privilege of dining in and be served by our fellow classmates. At that French restaurant, we started off the course with, of course, bread and butter. Some warm, luscious handmade rolls, that melted room temperature rich French butter on top of this bun. Before we even started eating anything, I would gobble up 2 or 3 of these rolls. So after going plant-based, you can tell why I had to find a substitute for butter and bread. I recently started making a lot more bread at home. Now, we definitely need to start our sourdough series really soon. However, I've just been making it this way. I really wanted to cut down on how much we spent at the grocery store buying sliced bread, and so I decided we're just gonna make it ourselves anymore. I'm not gonna buy it anymore. Making bread at home is so much healthier and so much cleaner, and I just prefer it this way. It's so good when it's nice and fresh out of the oven. It's the most amazing smell in the home as well, so it's just so good. And I've found that a lot of recipes out there would require you to do like warm water, and you gotta proof the yeast, and just all sorts of stuff like that. And of course, lots of measuring. Well, you know me. I like to just kind of experiment and do my own thing. Sometimes I just don't feel like warming up water in a pot and getting warm water, you know what I mean? And so I've experimented with making bread just with regular room temperature water. Actually, this is like kind of cold because it's out from our well. And so I've actually found that it's worked this way as well. So in my measuring cup, I have about 3 cups of water, so I didn't even really measure it. I have a full recipe on our sandwich bread, but today I just decided to just fill up some water. So I've got some coconut sugar here, and that's why the water is a little bit brown. And I've got about, I really didn't measure, about like maybe 1.5, 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. And so I just kind of mix it all up together, and now I'm going to add it into our mixing bowl. Here, you want to do it? If you've seen our videos, you know that I love to incorporate all the kids whenever possible when we're baking or cooking anything. Bread is something that I really want them to learn so that they can make a basic recipe such as bread at home. And so, while we're making bread, I know you guys have been asking for a vegan butter recipe, and so we are going to be making bread and butter today. So I've got some roasted cashews. You can definitely use raw cashews, which I actually recommend. It's just using unroasted, like just raw, unsalted cashews. But we have just some roasted, salted cashews, and that's what we're going to be using. In our pot right here, I'm going to add about a cup of cashews. Well, I really don't have a lot more in here, so I'm just gonna add the rest.
I'll eat some.
Okay, you can eat some. Okay. So now we're gonna boil this. We're going to add about 2 cups of water just to get it going. You can definitely soak this overnight as well, but I'm just going to boil it right now.
Oh, look here.
Why? Okay, let's get back to our bread. So I have some home ground spelt flour here. really, I'm not gonna measure. We're just going to add about, I don't know. Really, we just want enough flour in here to get, yeah, a sort of like a batter. So I'm actually gonna mix some flours here. I'm using a combination of freshly milled spelt flour and some unbleached all-purpose flour, organic of course. I find that the all-purpose flour really adds a little bit of a rise, and I think it's just because of it being milled finer and it's strained and sifted a lot finer. We can definitely sift our own spelt flour a little bit better. I just need to get out of my lazy mindset and just get it done. I will definitely get to sifting one day, someday. So in our bowl, we're adding just enough flour to make it to where it's a dough ball. I definitely suggest adding little bits of flour at a time. You can see already that in this bowl, it's way too liquidy, so I'm just gonna add some more flour.
Cooler.
Isaiah, come on.
But that's so cool. Feel it.
That is cool. I really like to make bread this way because I don't like to pull out all of our measuring cups, our measuring spoon. I really just like to go off of the feel. And that way, if you're using different types of flour, such as freshly milled flour, you can kind of adjust to your recipe or to your own dough. Because every flour is different, your environment changes things, everything affects your dough. I am using a dough spoon. Now, I can't find this on Amazon anymore, but I am going to link a similar one in our description so you can check it out. When we're mixing dough, I like to start off with the spoon so that way we don't get our hands too dirty at the beginning. Once that is nicely incorporated, it's time to knead it a little bit with our hands. Now here's where it gets fun. If you like to knead your dough, definitely do so and just build up that gluten in there. But if you're like me and you don't really like to knead, I only knead this dough for about, I would say, 1 minute or so, just to get the flour incorporated together. I found that one round of kneading this way will do the trick. I don't do any extra stretch and folds, none of that. I just knead it about 1 to 2 minutes. I make sure that all the flour is incorporated, and I'm just gonna let it sit covered in our nice and warm oven. I'm actually showing you in real time how much I'm kneading this dough, just so that you can see what I'm doing exactly. I'm just folding it over, pushing it with the palm of my hand, and I'm just gonna roll it around, doing it all throughout the dough until I get sort of a smooth dough ball. If you have a stand mixer, of course, you can definitely let the machine just go for 5-10 minutes or so. But if you're doing it by hand, I find this works as well. This is optional, but I like to toss our dough ball in some oil. Any kind of oil will do. This prevents the dough ball from sticking to the bowl, and it makes it so much easier to maneuver around the bowl and when you're taking it out of the bowl. So I found that here is the trick. So we're going to cover this with a plate like this, and then we're going to put it in the oven to prove. Now I have an oven that has a warm setting, so that's what I put the oven to. It's just a warm, but you can definitely just put it in the oven with the light on, and that will usually do the trick as well. It gets really nice and cozy and warm inside. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to time it for about 30 minutes for my bread, and then I'm going to come back and check up on it. Our cashews have been brought up to a boil. It's been boiling like this for about 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to turn it down and simmer it for another 10-15 minutes until you can see that the cashews are just soft, but it's not quite there yet. So we're gonna let this go for a little bit more. It looks like we're gonna need a little bit more water. We don't want the cashews to burn, so let's just add a little bit more just until it covers, and then we will simmer it for another 10 minutes or so. The dough has been sitting in a warm proofing oven setting for about 45 minutes or so roughly, and now it's time to get them in a loaf pan. You should see that the dough ball should have already doubled in size. If not, it could still work. You would just need to let it proof a second time in the loaf pans just a little bit longer until it is a higher dome. So it creates a beautiful loaf of bread. If you're in the market for new loaf pans, these ones are the best. This is the USA pans. I will have a link in the description. I just put some coconut oil on there just to paint it, just to make sure that the dough doesn't stick. And it makes taking the bread dough out very, very easy. So I'm just going to very simply form a dough ball by folding it into itself. And I'm gonna put it into a warm oven for another 30 minutes or so, or 45 minutes, while we make our butter. To make our butter, we're going to put our cashews into a high-powered blender. You can definitely use a hand blender, but it will take a little bit longer to emulsify and blend everything up. So just keep that in mind. If you don't, then definitely, do your best when you're hand blending. I am using half and half, a liquid oil and a hard oil. Hard oil meaning I'm using a coconut oil because it solidifies at a certain temperature. Usually it's 76 degrees. I choose coconut oil because it solidifies, and combined with a liquid oil, it makes the most beautiful spreadable butter that you can make. For our liquid oil, I added some grapeseed oil, and I'm adding about a teaspoon and a half of salt. You can leave it unsalted if you would like to. We just prefer a salted butter taste. I've combined the cashews with 1.5 cups of each coconut oil and grapeseed oil, and we're going to blend it up. I suggest at first you try this recipe as is, and then later on you can just play around with the ratios. I have a little butter container here, which we used to use when we had butter. So I'm going to use this for our vegan butter. After blending our mixture nice and smooth, we are going to pour it right into our mold. The cashews, I've noticed, gives it a delicious nutty taste, whilst it also gives this beautiful goldeny color as well. As you can see, this fits our little butter mold just enough, and then we're going to have a little extra. We're going to refrigerate this until it's nice and set, about a couple of hours or so, or you could put it in the freezer like us because we are impatient. At this point, I'm just checking on our loaves really quick. It looks like the loaves have sprung up a little bit more during our second proof, and now I'm just putting it into our hot preheated oven of 420 degrees Fahrenheit. You can definitely use 425, it really doesn't matter. After 20 minutes of baking at 420, we're going to lower it to 350 for another 20 minutes. And once it's done, it is nice and golden brown. We like to brush the tops with some oil. You can omit this step if you want to, but I like to do it because it makes the bread nice and soft on the top as well. All right, we are about to do a quick taste test. So I have a little bowl here with just some leftover butter, and then I have the rest still chilling in the fridge, but I figured we can just do a little quick taste test with this one. So I'm gonna slice up some bread. Come on, Israel, you wanna taste? It's not. Let's try it. Here. You wanna taste?
There's something off.
What? Taste. Let me know what you think. I wanted to show you a close-up of how spreadable this butter is. This sat in the fridge for a little bit, maybe like 30 minutes or so. This recipe that we made will keep a nice spreadable texture even when you keep it in the fridge or you take it out fresh from the fridge. It will melt on warm bread. It's the most delicious. What do you think? I think it's pretty good.
I think I didn't put enough butter.
Why? Because it's so good?
Uh-uh.
Alright, put some more.
How is it?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't taste it.
You didn't put enough.
Did you salt it?
Yes. What do you think? I love how it spreads nicely, and then it kind of melts onto the bread like a real butter.
And probably use more salt.
More salt. Because I figured the cashews had some salt in it, so I didn't want to salt it too much.
I want salt. It'll take a while to salt it too much.
Okay, come on.
It's good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it's a really great butter substitute if you are craving that buttery bread and butter type of flavor. I really like it. We don't make it too often, but you know, I know you guys have been asking for like a recipe, so I hope that you guys get this a try. It's really, really good. I am a bread and butter person. Really, really good. Well, I hope that you guys give this a try. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
When we make fresh bread and butter, the kids will devour this. This is one of our most favorite foods, and we really hope you give it a try. We hope that this video was helpful. Let us know in the comments what you think, and let us know if you're gonna try this out as well. We highly suggest that you kind of play around with the ratios. If you like it less nutty, go with less cashews. If you like the butter to stay a little more solid, add some more coconut oil. It's just that easy. We would love for you to try it out. Let us know in the comments what you think. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.